The Food and Drug Administration says it rejected applications for nearly 950,000 other flavored e-cigs and similar products, mainly due to their potential appeal to underage teens. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
For more state news, go to onnradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
Hey there, what are you doing today? Would whatever it is be easier with faster, more reliable home internet? If you said yes, we have good news. Plus, you could save up to $150. Viasat offers high-speed satellite internet wherever you live, even if cable providers don't go there. So you can get online today and tomorrow. Go to viasat.com/connect now and save up to $150 on select home plans. That's viasat.com/connect now. Minimum 24-month service term. Service is not available in all areas. See viasat.com for additional terms and conditions.
As first responders, we focus a lot on the physical demands of the job, but what about the mental demands? As a new Concord police chief, I know firsthand that it's not normal to see what we do, take it home, and deal with it on our own. That's why I encourage you to seek help if you need it. Visit the Ohio Department of Insurance's website, insurance.ohio.gov, or call 800-686-1526 to speak to experts who can help you understand what mental health benefits may be in your health plan.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Football Friday. With sun and clouds mixing through the day, temperatures should rise to about 75 for the daytime high. An overnight low of 53 degrees under mainly clear skies, with clouds and sunshine mixing for your Saturday. Temperatures are in the lower 80s once again. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
There's something on the radio you should hear.
Can I turn on the radio?
Okay, where are you?
I'm on the radio.
How did you get on the radio?
It's pure talent.
They go on pure talent.
You think he's got that kind of talent?
Well, someone did.
Who is that? This guy.
You can be on the radio.
And just like that.
History is made.
Okay, now it's ready to go. 2, coming on you now. Cue music.
Yo, showtime, showtime.
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
58 degrees, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 59 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 59 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Fair skies, a little bit of sun kind of peeked through, had some early morning fog. It's still floating around a little bit, but not too bad this morning. All in all, a fair morning. And going to be a good day. Sunny and nice, no rain, nothing to worry about there. Pleasant temperature, 73, the predicted high for the day today. It's 10 minutes after the hour on this September the 10th, the day before the 20th anniversary of September 11th, 9/11/2001. Certainly a tragic day, a catastrophic day, a turning point day in American history and really in world history. 20 years ago, President Biden today will be at each of the three key sites, the Pentagon, the World Trade Centers, and at Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to take part in different memorial ceremonies. A lot of stuff going on around the Ohio Valley during the day today. The official service of remembrance, which they do every year, but this year it's going to be at the Heritage Port on Saturday night. It's going to be an interfaith event. The Rabbi Leaf from the temple will be there. Father Paul Hudock from the Diocese of Wheeling-Charleston. Daryl Cummings, our old friend, will be in there. My own pastor, Reverend Erica Harley from Vance Church, will be part of it. And the Reverend Ken Hardway from the First Christian Church in Wheeling. All will be part of this interfaith ceremony that will be there. Wheeling Symphony will provide a prelude at 6:45. The service begins at 7 o'clock. The keynote speaker in that service will be Senate Majority Whip, I should say, Ryan Weld from Brooke County, who, of course, is a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. He's been making a lot of appearances on the media this past couple of weeks having to do with the 20th anniversary of the war in Afghanistan and the withdrawal there. Wheeling's police chief and others will also be part of it. Some other things going on. The Ohio County Commission has an event at the airport called Honoring Heroes Flying into the Future. That will also be tomorrow. It is not just a 9/11 commemorance, but the 75th anniversary of the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. And Boy Scouts are commemorating the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on America with a service in Woodsdale this year, followed by a carnival and a Boy Scout recruitment at the Woodsdale Park there. So a lot of things going on throughout the day. Tomorrow, also, before Ohio County Library has a new exhibit right now featuring the work of a local artist, Reflections on 9/11, 20 Years of Sorrow. You'll be able to take part in that, art exhibit and program. The program is on Facebook for the library and also on their YouTube channel, talking about reflections of September 11th and artwork that is there. So those are a number of the things going on around the Ohio Valley. I want to finish up our ABC documentary here. We've been taking a look at September 11th, the day 20 years ago, and the aftermath thereof. And Aaron Katursky has been providing these reports for us. This is our concluding look at 9/11 from ABC News. Here's Aaron Katursky.
You're listening to an
Desperate to save others, she left the burning building only when being ordered to by her superior officer.
The one thing that I would leave with the American public is that we're all the same. Reach out and touch somebody. Love people. We're all the same. Don't dwell on the past too much, because sometimes the past can bring us pain.
20 years after the unthinkable, on one beautiful late summer morning, it still feels impossible to summarize what happened, what emerged from the dust, and what it may mean. We're left to consider whether 9/11 was a day or an era, whether the nation is safer or darker, or both. What we cannot forget is the America that was seen that day, the kindness, the humanity, the firefighters and cops and EMTs, a spirit of togetherness that jutted through broken concrete. I'm Aaron Katursky. You've been listening to a special presentation from ABC News.
Newspaper editor John McCabe is here with us this morning. John, I've been saying all morning long, I've really been in a reflective mood certainly the last few days, maybe the last week or so, as I think back on 9/11. Even though I was intently watching it during the day, I had, 20 years kind of dims the memory. I had forgotten a lot of the details and a lot of the just a huge tragedy there. And then I think about what's happened over 20 years. I mean, have you been reflecting on this?
Sure. Yeah. It's hard not to. Such an altering event for our country, just in total, and I think that's what, in so many ways, makes it such a unique. Unique's a bad word, but such a day that you just can't forget. It changed our entire way of life. It changed our entire, the entire way we looked at things, with the way we looked at the world. That I'm not going to say that ideal of, American exceptionalism went away, but it was challenged because, again, we had an ocean on both sides of us, and really had not ever felt direct attack on our homeland, and all of a sudden it came right to our door. And, that day was, I was listening just a minute ago with your ABC installment, just sitting here thinking, 20 years ago today, at 9:20 in the morning, most of us were, just going about life as normal. And pretty much within 24 hours, 23 hours later, everything changed, and it's continued to change since. And I think that to me is really, I look at the individual acts, like I watched the Turning Point series on the docuseries on Netflix, which was very good, and just remembering the selflessness of firefighters running through that building, knowing, maybe never imagining that the entire thing would collapse, but knowing that 100 plus floors up, they had to go to try to find people who likely were already dead. And it just, you think about that and the courage it takes to do that. And it's those are the kind of things that really stick out to me, as along with just kind of the overarching, how much the world has changed in 20 years.
And the passengers on Flight 93 that crashed into Shanksville, because you mentioned the firefighters rushed in, not totally sure what was going to happen. The folks on Flight 93 knew exactly what was going to happen, because they were going to make it happen. They were going to kill themselves in order to prevent the plane from getting to D.C., whether it was the Capitol or the White House has always been that issue, but they drove that plane down knowing full well they were going to die. One of the things I've been watching, I think you recommended it to me, John, and it really is a powerful documentary series on Netflix. Mm-hmm. One of the things on that Flight 93 that really struck me, a number of the passengers were able to call home, and how calm they were in essentially telling their family they ain't coming home.
Yeah, that's, excuse me, when you think about that, I guess that's the panicking not going to do any good, because you kind of realize by that point what's happening, and what the steps you're going to take are likely going to lead to. So no, when you hear that, when you hear the flight attendant who was on, I believe, the first flight that flew into the North Tower, calling in and saying, I think something's going on. Someone in business class has been stabbed. There's mace, seems like mace in the air. Can't get anybody in the cockpit. Not quite the same as Flight 93, but just being able to hear those recordings and get a sense of where people were at that morning. It really, what a defining event for in so many ways. And again, it's hard to believe that most kids in college now, except for people who maybe were working on graduate programs, have absolutely zero recollection of this. They don't remember what New York City looked like with the Twin Towers dominating the landscape, except in what they see in pictures. And obviously they're never, in some ways, it's easy to feel some relief for them that they don't know, or if they were born, they don't remember that uncertainty and horror. I mean, I think all of us, I think we talked about this 5 or 10 years ago, but sitting there that morning with my oldest, and turn on the TV a little bit, right after the first plane hits, and watching, and then just watching live as that second plane flies right into the tower. What that's something you don't see. Seeing that live was just, I think, for something none of us will ever forget.
I saw a statistic yesterday. Statistically, I guess about a third of America was either not born or was too young to have paid any attention to 9/11.
Isn't that something? A third of the country.
That's absolutely frightening. And you really hit on an important point. You can teach history, you can show pictures, you can explain what it was like, but until you went through it, as we did, you don't understand how totally, I don't want to say frightening, although that's a word too, confusing, that's not quite the right word, but we didn't know what was going on. I mean, we literally did not know what was going on for most of the day.
And watching some, it might even have been in one of the pieces that you've been airing. They had up to 11 planes that morning that they could not get in contact with. Yeah. And they're calling, command centers and scrambling jets, and as we all know now, and found out in the months after 9/11, there were live fire orders on several planes that they could not reach for some time, and when it's again living through that. We didn't live through D-Day, we didn't live through Pearl Harbor, that many of those things that our older generations did, and it was always hard, I think, prior to 9/11 for me to understand what impact those days really had. And again, but those days weren't live. They were learned about a day later or 2 days later. We watched this unfold live, which I think made it worse in some ways, or just very different, because again, you knew at 9 o'clock on September 11th, or no one knew what was going to happen next. No one knew that a plane was going to crash in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, or that the Pentagon was going to get hit, or what else was going to come after that.
Yeah, or was that the end of it?
Exactly.
Who knew? I know I've said this a dozen times. I sort of was watching the clock, and it seemed as if every half hour something was happening. Plane 1, half hour later, plane 2, half hour later, the Pentagon, Shanksville, World Trade Center 2 comes down. They were happening. They weren't. I mean, it turns out there was no, but honestly, I kept thinking, oh my God, they've planned something to happen every 30 minutes because we just plain didn't know. John, there's a phrase that was really popular right after 9/11, and it was, if you, and fill in the blanks, the terrorists win, right? If you, my favorite was in New Orleans, it said, show us your boobies or the terrorists win. But
how do you go there? I mean, how in the world do you go there from there to there, Howard? Come on.
Hey, it was just one that I remembered. I thought, hey, it's the phrase of the day. Somebody was to take advantage of it. But it was if blank, then the terrorists win.
Yeah.
Here's my question: did the terrorists win? Because of course we got Bin Laden, but Afghanistan is right back to where it was before. Yeah. But more importantly, I'm talking about the way our country changed. And you mentioned we are dramatically different country now than we were then. Did the terrorists win? Did they achieve at least part of what they wanted to do?
I think that's such a great question and great thing to ponder because I think ultimately the answer is yes. Win maybe is not the right word, but they altered our way of life. I mean, let's look at what happened yesterday, and I don't want to get into the whole vaccine mandate right now, but the president, the executive branch taking on big levels of bringing in more power, that's, I'm going to say it started, but that really expanded after 9/11. President Bush really started, the Patriot Act, surveilling, FISA courts, surveilling our own people and citizens of our country, rounding them up. We are by no means the same country we were 20 years ago today. That from September 11th on, we have changed dramatically. Now, do we still have all the freedoms? Sure, we can drive wherever we want within our country. We can, we don't have to show papers at a border between West Virginia and Ohio, anything like that. But, we also know that our phones can be used to surveil us. The government can surveil us with really no grounds whatsoever. And the courts have signed off on this, all in the name of security. So, obviously their overarching goal on 9/11 and after has been to destroy, the great Satan of the world in their eyes, Western democracy. And did they do that? No, but they changed the way we think of a democracy, at least at the governmental level. Governments now, in the name of safety, are more than willing to surveil on each other, on their residents, on their own people. Win is maybe not the right word, but they changed who we are.
And in very fundamental ways. I mean, the fundamental right to be left alone and to be not surveilled has really went out the window shortly thereafter. And they went out. It didn't just. Yes, the Bush administration actually expanded it on their own with executive powers, but Congress also went along with the Patriot Act, and they have renewed that over and over again. President Obama did not; he made some slight modifications, but didn't really change anything either. I mean, we continue to be in a surveillance society. And the other thing, and I don't want to get into big debates about it, did it work or did it not work, but the torture that occurred, the enhanced interrogation techniques that we used on prisoners, particularly in Gitmo, in my mind, necessary or not, let's not get into that. Nonetheless, it lowered our standards. That's not what America is perceived to be. So I think in many ways the terrorists did win, and I don't want people to call me a communist or anything. I'm just saying I think to some extent the goal of terrorism is to bring about a fear and then change in your opponent, and they've done that.
Yeah, as you described, it's hard to argue. Again, mostly everyday life hasn't changed all that much, but it's not what it was on September 10th, 2001.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been a good reflecting time, and
it really has.
You encourage me, and I want to encourage anybody who has Netflix, that 5-part documentary, what's it called, Turning Point?
Turning Point, yeah.
It's really, it's a reminder, and it's a good reflection of what's happened and where we've been. And
Howard, one of the things that when I first started watching it, that really struck me, and struck's not the right word, but when we talk about the folks who were on Flight 93, and of course we've all seen the pictures of people jumping out of the towers as it was burning, and I don't recall, and again it's been 20 years so my memory's not quite what it was, but I don't recall seeing some of the shots that were in the first episode of the Turning Point docuseries where the helicopter was up, at the 108th floor, and people literally were like opening windows and hanging on the windows out of the building to try to escape the heat. You know, I was talking to someone about, you think about that heat, even if you're floors away, that, heat it tries to get out of the building from all that jet fuel is, hundreds of degrees high, melting flesh. And, you think if your only recourse is to open a window and hang out more, 1,000+ feet above the ground, just those are the kind of things that really, as I went through this again 20 years later, really impacted me in seeing and just thinking how helpless it must have felt to be there and what's going through that person's head before, inevitably most of them probably just let go because the heat just got too intense.
Well, I was watching that particular installment last night and thinking about the decision that some of these people made. Do I burn up in this fire in here, or do I jump out the window?
Yeah.
I mean, and I was running that through my head, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a long drop, and you got plenty of time to contemplate it, but you're probably, when you hit the end, you're done.
Yeah.
It could be a painful. I mean, just what a horrible decision these people made. I did not see on the Netflix documentary, but I remember some previous video that I've seen over the years that actually were taken at ground level as some of these bodies hit the ground.
Yeah.
And, they sound like sacks of flour just hitting the ground. And people, oh, what a day. All right, let's do a break, John. We'll shift gears. There's one of the big issues going on these days, and that's COVID. I want to talk about that and the schools and so on. And if we have time, a few items from Wheeling City Council. So we'll get to all of that as the roundtable continues. Newspaper editor John McCabe here with me on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 9:33, 27 till the hour. We are looking at around 59 degrees, I think. 55? I don't even know. Can't find my notes. It's going to be a nice day. Pleasant, sunny, 73. Here's headlines from Metro News right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Player now in the National Football League after he signed a $112 million 4-year extension. I know what you're asking. How much of it is guaranteed? Try $80 million. Oh, by the way, you'll earn about $28 million a year. Not bad for a 26-year-old football player. Maybe the best defensive player in the National Football League. Meanwhile, TJ and the Steelers will visit the Buffalo Bills Sunday in the regular season opener. The NFL opened the regular season Thursday night in Tampa as the defending NFL champions, the Buccaneers, edged the Dallas Cowboys 31-29 in a thriller. That oldie but goodie, 44-year-old Tom Brady, the quarterback of the Buccaneers, he had a pretty good night. He threw for 379 total passing yards and, oh, by the way, 4 TD passes in the victory. College football Saturday, the West Virginia Mountaineers will host Long Island in Morgantown. 11th-ranked Penn State will host Ball State. The Pirates, they didn't win or lose Thursday. They had an off day. But they're back to work tonight at home at PNC Park. The 50-90 Pirates host the Washington Nationals. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
This is Hoppy Kercheval. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for Talkline. I have guests, conversations, texts, phone calls on all the big stories affecting us in West Virginia. So tune in weekdays right here on FM 98.1 and FM 97.7, The Watchdog.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Keep your home safe and secure with Swan Security Products. Swan provides a solution for every home or business on any budget. From cameras to motion lights, we have what you need. Get 11% off all Swan Security Products. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through September 11th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
The Watchdog prides itself in being involved in our community, and we want to hear from you. Does your organization have an event that you would like promoted on the radio? Please send us the details via our website, watchdognetwork.com. Just click on our contact page and fill the information. Live, local, and here for our community. Share your events with the Watchdog.
Friday nights in the fall are reserved for high school football, and the 20-year tradition continues on Metro News. It's Summit Community Bank High School Game Night with Fred Persinger and Dave Jecklin. Celebrating 20 years of bringing you up-to-the-minute scores, conference standings, player and coach interviews, and more. Tune in all season long to follow your favorite school. Friday nights from 9:30 to midnight. Summit Community Bank High School Game Night on this Metro News station.
Here's a look at the Ohio Valley Local News Week in Review with newspaper editor John McCabe and Howard Monroe.
58 degrees, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, much warmer, 64 here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, 62 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Going to be sunny and nice today. Going to get up to around 73, should be no rain, should be just a nice, pleasant day for you today. Even better weekend, going to be sunshine and 80s for the 80-ish for the weekend as well. We are talking about the Ohio Valley News Weekend Review now. John, I guess COVID is still the dominant topic a lot of people are worried about. Clay Marsh said this week that we may not be able to control the Delta variant. It's like a wildfire that now has to burn itself out. Wheeling Park High has canceled its home football opener. Marshall County is going to a mask mandate. things are getting worse before they're getting better. That's for sure.
Unfortunately, I mean, again, you think back, and I was just reading something during the break, that's been talked about this week on active cases and hospitalizations, and on January 5th, we're right at that number statewide in terms of hospitalizations. And on January 5th, we really had just such a small slice of the population vaccinated. And so you look at this, where do we go? I mean, I'm not sure if you know, Marshall County's mandated masks. Magnolia High School, just south of us, is off for the next 10 days, closing down, going to remote learning because of virus cases. Statewide, we're seeing, again, other schools that are changing their policies, and they have a big rally tonight in Moundsville. Just got an email on this, or a text message on this right before we started. A Stop the Mask rally in Moundsville tonight at the old roller rink, I believe. To try to show for people to show their displeasure with Marshall County schools deciding yesterday to institute a mask policy. So yes, the summer of discontent, and now the fall of discontent continues, unfortunately.
Yeah, I called last year the year America shut down. I guess you're right. This is the summer of discontent. That's a great way of looking at it. I still don't fully understand all the protests. I don't really get it. To me, the smart move is to keep everybody safe, especially kids in school, especially those under 12 who can't be vaccinated, period. We're seeing it spread. I mean, it's not as if we are just thinking about what might happen. We're seeing it spread in the schools, and it is a precaution that I think makes some sense. Do you think Ohio County schools will revisit their decision, the school board?
Yes, I think that I'll be very surprised if I think their next meeting is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something. This coming week, or this week that's coming up, and fully expect a mask mandate to be instituted. I don't know how they don't. I mean, especially with the way, I think the challenging thing right now, as a parent and as an observer of public education, Wheeling Park's football game is canceled, for tonight. They have some unvaccinated students, some quarantines, etc. Nobody's sick, though, so they cancel a football game, if those kids were wearing masks, they would not have been quarantined. Just the way the quarantine rules are written, it's, one kid can really, one kid with COVID, who's sick or not, really can cause a lot of problems, or for other students, which is what's leading to the football game being canceled. I'm not saying it's very well, but if the way I look at it is short of mandating a vaccine for high school students and those 12 and over, which again may be coming at some point. It's again at the overarching level, the president has done that now for a large swath of the population. The important thing, I guess what it comes down to for me, the important thing this year has to be for kids to stay in school. It does not. Magnolia shutting down for 10 days does not do those kids in Wetzel County any good. Wetzel County already struggles in terms of educational attainment and achievement. 10 days out of school, hopefully that's all it is, they're not going to learn. We know the remote learning systems, generally speaking, are not effective. So anything to keep kids in school, in my mind, for my child, and looking at the welfare of others, even if they may not agree, I think that's what our focus needs to be, is how do we keep kids in school? That's what's important. My feelings in this shouldn't matter.
Well, it should matter only to the extent that we all should be concerned about everybody.
Well, sure, and that's what I mean. But my personal thoughts on this, left, right, efficacy of masks, whatever else, if wearing a mask is keeping a kid in school and allowing them to learn, that to me is a better turnout than them sitting at home and going through what they did over the past, 18 months roughly.
when football games get impacted, people kind of take more. It's sad. It's really sad. But when football games get impacted, people take more notice than when we get numbers of kids who are getting COVID in schools and so on, because people want football to go on. I am fearful that if we don't do something, and again, Clay Marsh seems to think maybe we can't do anything, but if we don't do something, we're going to be back where we were last year, where every week we're going to be looking at who's playing this week and who's not playing this week. What kinds of schedules do we have to readjust because of COVID? Nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to be in that position. The kids at Wheeling Park were looking forward, I'm sure, both the players and it's their home opener. The rest of the student body is probably looking forward to the game. It's done because of COVID, where masks may have prevented it from happening. John, an interesting line I noticed in your story, the newspaper story yesterday, and maybe I read more into it than I should have, but the line was something like, nothing more was said about the situation from the school board. It sounded to me as if school board was, not the school board.
For the school administration.
School administration was not wanting to give out a whole lot more information. Did I read that line wrong? That's the way I interpreted what I read.
No, I think probably the right way to read that line is this was something forced on them. They weren't given a choice in the matter. This is something that I'd say most likely came down from the health department. So again, when you start to think of the logistics of, what do we do for people who bought tickets, because you can't just show up at the gate and buy tickets anymore. You've got to buy them in advance. So it really, that's, I don't know for certain, but my inclination from reading that and hearing from the person who spoke to the school board communications director that this was not something that was their choice. This was something that was pushed on them to do.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And you mentioned vaccine mandates. The truth of the matter is we have vaccine mandates. That's what's fascinating. You can't go to school without having your, I don't know what all you have to have, your mumps, measles, rubella, all of those. You can't go to school without getting those vaccinations. What's the big deal about this other than there's some kind of small p, political statement being made? I just plain don't get it.
I think, again, I know we don't have a whole bunch of time left, but, the president doesn't have the authority to issue a nationwide vaccine mandate. He just doesn't. And this goes into, of course, again, a continued overreach by the executive branch. This likely will get struck down at some point, much as the eviction moratorium did, but then this really puts a burden in my mind on employers, which is rather unfair. If this is something, states' rights still trump here, and that's where I think things have been lost. And part of the problem is we have 50 states that are looking at things 50 different ways right now. So I don't know. It's just a continued, in my mind, just a continued muddling of so much of how the country is supposed to work. So I don't want to get into it too much, but it really, I wasn't surprised that the president did it yesterday, but I don't see, he just doesn't have, he doesn't have that authority to do it.
I actually agree with you. I don't think he can mandate private business. No, he can mandate, and I think he should, federal employees.
Sure. That's within his bailiwick.
The same thing as I think Governor Justice can mandate that, and I think he should, state workers be vaccinated, but can't mandate businesses do it. But the flip side of that is, because there's talk about the legislature wanting to pass a law that prohibits businesses from doing it, I don't think they can do that either.
No.
I mean, a private business can choose to or not choose to put a vaccine mandate into effect. I hope they do in most cases, but neither President Biden forcing a mandate nor the Washington legislature preventing a mandate, I don't think either of those are going to hold up. I just don't think you can do that for a private business.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where it goes. I look at this right now and think the Democrats are playing the long game and the Republicans are not, because when this gets shot down, as I assume it will, this will lead to renewed calls for a changing in the structure of the Supreme Court, which is, I think, ultimately what is sought here. Now, do I think the president's doing it for that reason alone? No. I hope there's some genuine concern, and I think there is. But the politics are still invading all of these issues, and that's America in 20 years after 9/11, Howard.
Absolutely. All right, John, good talking to you today. We'll do it again next week. Thank you a lot. We'll chat again.
See you.
Newspaper editor John McCabe, every Friday, the roundtable here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Right around this time every morning, we swing over to the Big 7, WTRF TV, and see what's happening in their newsroom. Bob Westfall is here with us. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Howard. How are you?
I'm good. Ready for the weekend. Looks like it's going to be a fairly pleasant weekend, so I'm kind of excited about that. Have no plans, but I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I'm going to work on Halloween decorations, I think.
Oh, don't say that. Actually, it's sad. I think we have to actually rake the leaves in our yard. The front tree the leaves are coming off. God, I hate that thought.
Yeah, you laugh. My neighbors had Halloween decorations out for almost 2 weeks now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to confound them all. I'm going to get my Santa Clauses out and put them up now.
You joined some of the retailers in the area, so you might as well.
Well, that's true too. Nothing like jumping the season for sure, but
Absolutely
I figure
not.
if I get my lights up now, I won't have to worry about it when we get around Thanksgiving because they'll be up and blinking.
There's a West Virginia joke in there, but I'm not going to touch it.
Oh, I'm sure there's one somewhere, Bob.
What are you working on today?
All right, some of the things we're working on. Remember the story we did a couple weeks ago about the animals displaced in the Hurricane Ida situation? They have made their way to the Marshall County Animal Shelter. Colin Roos was down there this morning. So those animals are there looking for families. I believe some have already found some families, but we're going to see if we can't help out. So we're Marshall County Animal Shelter has stepped up. If you remember the story, the shelters in Louisiana, that area has cleared out their animals. These are the animals that were in the shelters there before the hurricane. They sent them to area shelters up here. Marshall County stepped up, took some of the animals that way. So when the animals were displaced during the hurricane, shelters down there had room. So these animals are still looking for homes. So we'll see what we can do on that one. But Colin was down there. The animals are in. So Marshall County is looking for some good families to take these animals. So we'll have that. As you know, the NFL season kicked off last night with a barn burner. Dallas, Dak looked pretty good, in my opinion, for being out most of last year, but did lose in the end. But we're going to talk to 1-800-GAMBLER people with the NFL season kicking up. We're going to take a look at gambling addiction, things like that, and issues along that line. When is too much? What are the symptoms? What do you need to be seeing if you're a family member? And if you're a family member, what do you need to do? And if you're a gambler, what do you need to do to fight that type of addiction? So obviously, with the NFL season kicking off, a lot of people are gambling. A lot of people who don't know how to gamble are gambling. So we're going to talk to them about some of the warning signs about what you need to look for when it comes to situations like that.
I always say, if gambling is part of your entertainment dollars, if instead of having a few beers with the guys, you like to put some money on the games, or if you know how much money you want to spend, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not a gambler. I don't do that, but that's fine. But there are a lot of people, and you probably do too, Bob. I know some who have destroyed their lives.
Yeah.
Because they can't control their gambling. I mean, I have seen people. I remember folks who would come to me and say, "Boss, I just spent my entire paycheck the first day I got it. What am I going to tell my wife?"
Yeah.
I'm going, I don't know what you're going to tell your wife, So it is a real problem, and people who have gambling problems need to address them, and I look forward to seeing more coverage of things like that. So that looks like a good story. I'm glad to see that.
So Aaliyah's working on that today. So yeah, I personally have a family member that on a couple occasions lost their homes and things like that, and kind of had to move on from stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have that today. We're going to work on that. Of course, tonight's the 9/11 concert at the Capitol Theater. We'll be there for that tonight as well. And of course, it's Football Friday, so we'll have crews everywhere. As long as these football games are happening, we'll be part of that. And like you said, the weather is looking fantastic. I think we're going to get a little muggy on Monday, maybe late Sunday. But that's kind of what the crews are working on this Friday.
Well, you've got an extra crew tonight because nobody's going to the Wheeling Park game.
Yeah, we kind of readjusted. So yeah, we've got a couple other games we're going to get to. So anyway, yeah, got Park down, and I think we were talking to Biff before this. A couple other games out there that have kind of changed who the teams are. So we'll have all that tonight. I did want to make something. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to make something clear on the tweet that I sent out earlier. I didn't pick Betty White because she's old, and I didn't want that connected to you. I just want to make that clear before your feelings get hurt.
I love Betty White. It was better than it was better than that. What was it? The Frankenstein monster, Herman Munster that you did last week. So
I like that.
I kind of liked it, but Betty White. I like Betty White. Real quick, I'm on short of time, but you mentioned Colin, and we've got Rebecca working this morning. You got a couple of new folks working over there, right?
Let's see. We've got Ashley Kaiser. She is new. Colin's been with us for a while, but he's been behind the scenes as a producer. Okay. Rebecca was working with John Lynch in our digital, and she's kind of moved in front of the camera as well. So she's been here not a long while, but a while. Trying to think who else. Zach's relatively new. Aaron's relatively new. You know. So yeah, we've got several new people here. Yeah.
Just some of those folks, I guess, were behind the scenes and out front, but they're new to us as we watch them. So
yeah. Then you've got Captain Guy on, who's been here like forever now. So
yeah, she is truly one of the mainstays, isn't she? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
And she does such a great job too. I really enjoy watching her and looking at the stories that she chooses to cover and so on. She's got a great eye for good news and good stories. I like that. All right, listen, have yourself a great weekend, and we'll talk again on Monday. And thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, have a good weekend, guys.
All right, you too. Bob Westfall from the Big 7 WTRF TV. Well, I think that's just about it. I got to go. I got to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kercheval's Got the Calm coming up next. Full weekend of sports activity for you, beginning after the 12 o'clock news with the Bill DeFabio Variety Show. And Bill's spending, 7 different guests coming in today to talk about the weekend sports activity? 7, maybe 8, we'll see. The Quaker Steak and Lube Friday afternoon walkthrough live from our studios at 3 o'clock. And then, of course, tomorrow we've got Ohio State, we've got WVU, we've got Central on our high school stream. Whew. Boy, no sports huddle, though, tomorrow. I should point that out. All right, Biffy, I guess I'll be back Monday morning, 7 o'clock on the go around of the big gig. Are you back with me?
I'm here Monday, ready to start another week.
We'll just keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Vaccinated against COVID-19.
All righty. Wasn't bad. I wish I had those ABC documentaries to put in all the time. Yeah, they were really well done, very timely, well done. Not too long. The first one was 10, but I mean they fit in nicely. I thought they were really well done pieces. I wish ABC would do more of that. I wish they'd do more long form, truly long form stuff. They used to do some good, 2.5 minute feature pieces that had sound and stuff, but they don't do that anymore. It's too bad because those were always good to use. All right, any plans for the weekend? Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's a good way to spend the weekend, though. That's all right. Are you moved? Cool. You enjoying it? Good. That's great. All right. I will be around if you need me. I'm trying to think what I've got. Nothing going on this weekend or today. So give me a call if there's any problems. Everything's going all right, I assume, right? No technical problems that you're aware of. All right. That's hit my head. Knock wood. Let's keep it that way. And like I say, if you need me, give me a call. Otherwise, I guess I'll just talk to you on Monday. All right. Thanks a lot, Vic. Appreciate it. Bye.
Defender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with ReputationDefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at ReputationDefender.com.